All right, today's video, I want to talk about the question of, do I regret my own drinking past? I think, it's an interesting question, no? I think regret itself is an interesting concept. It's something that everyone has to one degree or another anyway. I think Kurt Vonnegut said it rightly when he said that of all the words of mice and men, the saddest are, it might have been. And that in a nutshell is the essence of regret. It's acknowledging a lost opportunity or a path not taken. And when I look back at my own life, my own drinking life, it's not just one path that wasn't taken, but many. And I think most people can do that. They can look back on their own lives and go, if I hadn't have taken that path, if I'd have taken that path. And it's not just about mourning something that went wrong. It's about mourning the absence of what could have been right. That's the problem with regret, isn't it? You're not just looking back at your own past and going, I could have done this or I should have done that. It's like you're thinking about the path that you could have taken that would have taken you down a different road, And everyone at some point in their lives has looked back and they've thought about the what ifs and the what might have beens of their life. Maybe about a major life decision, a major life choice, maybe about missed opportunities, maybe about lost loves, looking back in your past and say, what might have been if I had been with that girl, or if I had stayed with that girl, or if this hadn't happened. I think really any instance where your choices have led you to a particular outcome and there's kind of a lingering wonder, right? A kind of almost a remorse about the road not taken. And I think it's a big part of woulda, coulda, shoulda, that kind of mindset. It's an idea that if you could go back, you would change things. So if you could go back and you could change things, change them into what? It's all right saying to yourself, well, this is the outcome that I want, but that's the problem, is you could change any part of your past and you're not guaranteed to get anything. How do you know that any of these changes that you would make would be the right ones to make? Even if you could go and you could change several things, right? How do you know you're going to make things better? How do you not know that you're going to make things worse? The obvious one for me, and I think for a lot of people watching these videos, is to go back and change the beginning, to change the things so that I would never take up drinking, or you would never take up drinking in the first place. But if I could go back and not drink ever, I have to ask the question of where would I be right now if I had never drank? Who knows? There's just too many variations, there's too many complications, there's too many possibilities. And that's making the assumption that I can have made things better by not drinking, that things would have been better if I didn't drink. All those many variations and complications and possibilities could have also taken me down much more harsher, disastrous, tragic roads. And I don't know that. If you could go back and change one thing in your past, you wouldn't be just wiping out the bad stuff, right? It's not like you get to choose which stuff gets wiped out and which stuff gets kept. You'd also be wiping out all the good stuff in your past. So if I could go back to the beginning and wipe out all the drinking, I'd also be wiping out all the people I have met because I was a drinker. And that includes my son's mother. So I don't meet her, he's not born. So, I can't think of anything more horrendous in my life. All the drinking shit that I've gone through, everything that I've gone through, I can't think of anything more horrendous than not having my son in my life, right? Not to be a father, right? So it's a good job you can't go back and change, because if you could go back and change the thing and say, oh, I wish I never drank, and you went back to that time and you changed it, and you realize that there's far worse things in life than that, especially once you stop drinking. Anyway, look, You can't go back, right? So there's no need to dwell on it too much, right? You have to accept your past as is. Your past is immutable, it's solid, it's fixed. Well, I mean, it's not entirely true that. I'll change that, and I'll say that you can change the past by changing the way you think about the past, right? And that comes with experience, it comes with time, it comes with knowledge about yourself. But that's for another video. We'll cover that again later on, maybe. You know, there's a good education to be had from your past through learning from your own past, learning from your past and applying the knowledge to your present, right? So that then you can change your future outcomes. But there's another side of that coin, and that is the burden of the woulda, coulda, shoulda mindset that I was talking about earlier. You know, there's not much point in that, you know, and looking back and saying, well, I could have done this, coulda, shoulda done that, would have done this if that was the case, you know. It's just detrimental. You know, that's the bad side of any regret in a nutshell right there. So I think the healthiest way of looking at your past life is to think, that was the person I was then, right? This is the person I am now. Those were the thoughts I thought in my past. These are the thoughts that I'm thinking right now. Those were the actions that I took in the past. These are the actions that I'm going to take now. That I've learned, and I know how to live a better life now that I've learned some of those lessons. Look, you know, a huge part of what I teach is that stopping the flow of alcohol is just the starting point of this, right? It's not the point of the journey, right? It's the starting point, but it's not the point of the journey. You know, once you stop the flow, you're, think about it like you're releasing yourself from a self-made prison, right? And you're free to choose which path you take. You know, whichever path that you take after you stop drinking alcohol, that's gonna is up to you, but it will involve, you know, if you're going to have anything meaningful in life, you know, take a meaningful path, and it involves a lot of change, it involves a lot of self-reflection, but it's all worth it, because positively thinking about these things is the only real way to build a life that's worth living. If you want my help to push through and to get started on this journey, we've still got our free course. It's down below. It's the beginner's guide to stopping drinking alcohol. That's the first step, I think. And for those who want a more structured and if they want more significant help from me, we've got a full program, Habits V2, helps you unplug from alcohol, reshape your mindset, and sort of redefine that path that's laid out in front of you. No regrets, right? The links for both are in the description. Take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Bye now.